So, really excited this morning to be joined by Dr. Liz Marr. Welcome, Dr. Liz Marr.
Thank you very much, Justin, and thank you for inviting me. It's really nice to be here.
So, Liz, I understand and I know that you've got a pretty grand title at the Open University. You're the Pro-Vice Chancellor, which sounds very, very important. Can you tell me a little bit about what you do and
Yeah.
how you've arrived there?
Okay, so there are actually not all universities are the same, but we have two Pro-Vice Chancellors. There's a Vice Chancellor, that's the big boss, and then there's two Pro-Vice Chancellors, a Deputy Vice Chancellor, so that's my boss. And my particular responsibility is everything related to the student experience. So my title is Pro-Vice Chancellor Students, and my concerns are everything that impacts on the student's academic journey, on their support needs, on their experience, their satisfaction, their success. So it's quite a big portfolio, as you can imagine, especially as we've got around 170,000 students. So that's a lot of people to have some responsibility for. But I deal with things like, if like ensuring that students feel as if they've got a voice in the university. So making sure that that voice is heard. I deal with things like if there are particular problems that that a large number of students are experiencing in the way they're accessing courses. I can then go in and look at that and say, right, what are we going to do about it? We need to do this, that, or the other. If there's things that are making students unhappy that we're doing, how do we put those right? So it's an entirely student-focused role, and one which I really enjoyed, because I was a mature student myself. Most of our students are mature students. And I was a mature student with a small child when I started out studying for my degree. So I know how challenging it is to be able to manage your life and to be able to study alongside it, alongside that. So that's why the role for me is really precious. Really, it's really important.
Liz, I mean, not everyone will be aware of who. I mean, we have some international listeners. What is the Open University? What's the history and the background, and how did you get involved?
Okay, so the Open University is now, this year is 51. We had our 50th birthday celebrations all last year. It began in the it was the idea of Harold Wilson, actually, in the late 1960s, and it was launched as what they called at the time the University of the Air, because some listeners in the UK may remember the days when you'd come in after a night at the pub and you go for a curry, and then you come in and you'd be watching Open University programs on BBC television at 1 o'clock in the morning, and at physics and chemistry and music. And so a lot of people in the UK, particularly my age, will remember that. And that was really how the OU started. It has a very specific mission, which is to be open to people, to places, to methods, and to ideas. And we've maintained that focus on our mission ever since those very, very early days. Obviously doing things in different ways now, so we don't rely so much on television. We do much more online study. The methods we use are different. We reach out to far more people because we can attract international students as well as UK-based students. So so we are open, and we're, I guess, the kind of I want to say father, but it's really mother of all the other open universities around the world, because there are quite a lot of them, believe it or not. I wasn't aware of that until I began working for the OU. Even though I knew about it, I didn't realize there were open universities in the rest of the world as well. So, and I think the openness comes from being able to access study very flexibly. But actually we don't have any entry requirements. So if you want to come and study with us, you don't need to have A levels or anything like that. You just need to have the appropriate levels of literacy or numeracy, the desire to succeed, and the desire to engage with the ways in which we can help learners to develop the skills they need to study. So that's the Open University. We have around 170,000 students, as I've said. Over 20,000 of those have some kind of disability.
Wow.
So that's almost the size of a small university on its own.
Yeah.
We know that there are around 5% of our students who are carers. So they're caring for loved ones, family members who are disabled or elderly or have some kind of serious illness. We suspect there are far more than that, and we want to try to make sure that people tell us that they have that carer status in order that we can provide the right sort of support for them.
Brilliant.
In their learning.
So, I mean, I know that some of the retirees that I talk to, you know, they're looking to that next stage of their life. They're looking for, often are very curious about doing further learning, and some of them, you know, may feel. I definitely know that some of the people I've talked to went straight into the world of work. You know, they didn't go for a university education, and they've done well, they've had successful careers, but they're now looking at that opportunity to maybe study something that they never had the opportunity to do so, and are looking for that opportunity. Is that your experience as well?
Yeah, definitely. I know very many people who've moved into retirement and have thought, now is my chance to learn something different, to learn something new. Actually, though, you don't have to necessarily sign up for a qualification. I mean, you can carry on learning through life without actually trying to get a degree or a certificate or a diploma. Those things are there, and I love it. I think it's absolutely wonderful when people who've spent their life in the workplace and then have decided they want to do something for themselves, and they'll walk across that platform with their degree at the age of 80, or our eldest graduate is 93, you know. So and that
Fantastic.
is just so amazing, just really amazing. But I know my own mother, she didn't go to university, and but she saw quite a few of the Open University television programs, and there was the one that we had on the BBC. It was about the story of religion, and
Mm.
she said, "I'm really interested in that." And I said, "Well, I'll get you the books and stuff." And she said, "Oh, I don't want to do any exams." And I said, "Mum, you don't have to do any exams. You can buy the books. You can just watch some of the stuff online and watch the television, the videos of the television programs." And she was really happy with that. So,
Wow. Wow.
but
And
yeah, there are so many opportunities.
Liz, do you?
Sorry, Justin.
It's all right. I wasn't aware. Are you? Do you still put out content in essence for free on the television?
We do work closely with the BBC and other channels to develop content. So Blue Planet is probably the one that you know that most people have heard of. So there are some really, really fabulous television programs, and you get to the end of them, and then there's the little OU logo there that says that we've been contributing to those programs, and we also contribute to programs on the radio as well.
Right.
So there's you'll often hear in collaboration with the Open University at the end of something on Radio 4, for example.
Yeah.
But we also have a huge quantity rather, of free learning materials on our Open Learn platform.
Okay.
So if you want to have a taste of some Open University learning, but you don't necessarily want to do a whole course, you can go onto the Open Learn site, and you can have a look at. I'm just trying to find, because I had. Yeah, here we go. I've got a list of the questions that of some of the content. Just thinking if I can find it. Yes, I'm here. So I've got, but it's refusing to show me. So hang on a sec. I'll see if I can find it. No, it's gone away. But there's all kinds of things that you can have a look at on our OpenLearn site. And I would say to listeners, just Google OpenLearn or go to the Open University website and look for the OpenLearn platform, and you can find all kinds of things there. So one of the really popular ones we have at the moment is around starting with maths, and this is where actually parents and grandparents are looking at how they can help their children or grandchildren to cope with their maths, particularly at this time when most children are still working, studying at home.
Brilliant.
But there's loads of COVID related stuff there. There's all sorts of things. I noticed one today which is about wildflowers and their history. All kinds of interesting things there that you can have a look at, and they range in size. So they're just a few hours, or they could be 10 hours or 20 hours. So yeah, all that free stuff is there for people.
Brilliant. So I've got so many questions. Do you remember the 93-year-old who got their degree? What were they qualifying in?
To be honest, I can't remember, Justin. I just I just know that. But we've had people qualifying in all kinds of things. So in the arts, in English literature, psychology. Because we teach such a wide range of subjects, anything that you would expect in any other university, we do teach. And although we teach at a distance, so there are some things that are a little more difficult to teach at a distance. Say fine arts, for example, is we have arts courses, but we don't do what you might call the painting and decorating fine art type activity, and performing arts, but we do have music qualifications. Wow. And we collaborate with other providers, other higher education institutions, to provide some of those courses. You can take science courses online, so we've got virtual science laboratories, so people can actually do experiments from home virtually using our virtual science labs. We've got a virtual microscope, so you can watch the stars, or there's all kinds of things that people can do in those online environments.
Yeah. Now, I mean, part of university, of course, for university, kind of normal university life, I suppose, is about the companionship and the people that you meet, and the connections that you make. How do people really miss out on that because it's an online learning experience?
Not really, no. It's not the same. So, as going to a face-to-face university, but there are lots of opportunities to interact with other students. I have to say that some of our students come to us because they don't want that campus experience.
Right.
They want to do their learning and then get on with their lives, kind of thing, because most of them are in work or have caring responsibilities, young children, and they want to get their degree, their qualification, and they're not particularly interested in that kind of going to the student bar kind of experience. But we have, and particularly during the pandemic crisis, we've been doing really interesting things like virtual coffee mornings where students can get together and talk about the course. So our law school have been doing things like that. And we always have social interaction through what we call forums, so online forums where students can communicate with each other. And we have a students association, which is a little bit like the students union, where it's the same kind of thing, but whereas we have a students association, all our students are de facto members of that association unless they don't want to be. And they run all kinds of events, either regionally. So I know of some students who will meet up at a garden centre in Sussex regularly. So, to have a little in the cafe, not to buy the plants, I think, although I guess buying the plants is optional. but we also have Facebook groups, all kinds of social media groups that people can join in.
Great.
And we also have something that is called Student Hub Live, where we live webcast events that students can participate in via social media. So there's lots of opportunities to interact with other students if you want to.
Brilliant, brilliant.
So, and lots of opportunities to get involved in the running of the university.
Okay, okay. Well, so if someone was interested and they wanted to dip their toe in the water, could you give me an idea? I mean, I appreciate that you said there's lots of free resources, but is there a typical cost to getting a degree through the Open University?
There is, and I can give you the figures. So if you just want to dip a toe in the water, the best place to start is with the open materials, just to see if that's the kind of learning that would suit you. But you can sign up for a certificate of higher education, which is the equivalent of 1 year in a full-time face-to-face institution. And then the and diploma, which is the equivalent of 2 years, or a degree, which is the equivalent of 3 years of study. They're split into credits. So each year is 120 credits. And so a module, you study a module, can be either 30 credits or 60 credits. You can do 2 30 credits in a year. You can do 1 60 credit. You can do 2 60 credits in a year if you want to. You can just build up the number of credits to get to the qualification you want to.
Right.
So if we look at the pricing for that, so this is in England pricing. So our fee for a 60 credit module is 3,096. So for a certificate of higher education, you need to do 2 of those, and that would be 6,192. So a full honours degree would be £18,576. But many of our students will spread their study over 5, 6, 7 years. So that total sum of money is spread across those years. That there is obviously some students have grant loan eligibility, so they can get loans. We have our own financing system, so that if people want to pay in installments, they can do.
Right.
And we also have a kind of toe dipping experience for people who might not feel confident of their ability to study, and those are our access modules. So we have 3 of those, and they are 30 credits. They're worth 30 credits, and they're at what we call level 0. So it's just like kind of just before undergraduate level.
Right.
And those access modules are half the price of a 30 credit module. So probably around, trying to think of the price off the top of my head, 3,000, 1,500, about 700, between 700 and 800 pounds.
Right.
And for people on low incomes, there is a fee waiver in place.
Wow.
And those access modules are designed to help people to get a taste of the study, to develop their study skills. Maybe if you've not been in education for a long time, coming back and having to write an essay is quite a daunting experience. So these modules are about helping people to develop those skills. And the 3 subjects are STEM, science, technology, engineering, and maths. So that's in it, starting with STEM. There's one called People, Work and Society, which covers things like psychology, social sciences, childcare. And then we have arts and languages, so literature, history, the humanities type, and some languages. And those give you the opportunity to just try a little bit of study, as if you were a real student. Well, you are a real student, you're registered as a student, and to see whether that's the direction you want to go in. So I'd always recommend, if somebody's been out of study for a long time, starting with that. But then if you've been in the workplace for many, many years, if you've been working in I don't know, any workplace really, you develop so many skills in your working life that actually you bring a different set of a different set of knowledge and experience and skills. I think that mature students bring so much with them from their life journeys that it really helps them to engage with their learning probably more, not more easily, more readily probably than some 18-year-olds who just go straight from school into university. I'm not saying that's a bad experience. I'm just saying that you know, as I was a mature student myself, I didn't go to start to study until I was 30. So, you know, I had a lot of life experience that I could take into that.
Brilliant. Well, it's absolutely fascinating, and I feel very curious about all the things that the courses that you must offer. So, where can listeners find out more about what's available, what they could enroll in, and the types of courses that you've mentioned?
So everything is on our website,
Right.
and that's www.open.ac.uk.
Okay.
And if you go onto our website, there's all the information that you need is there. You can browse the courses. You can look at the fee structures, because it's different in each of the 4 nations of the UK. So if you're in Scotland, it'll be different to England, for example, and the same in Wales. So you'll see the different information depending on where you are. And of course, if you're overseas, then there'll be information available for your perspective. And as I say, you can browse the courses, you can have a little bit of, you get more information about what a course is around. If you are interested in studying, then you can call, well, under normal circumstances, so at the moment, obviously, we're a little constrained in terms of telephony by the current crisis, but under normal circumstances, you can speak to an advisor and get help and advice on where the right starting point is, or what kind of thing you might want to study. And we've also got some free courses there which are just around developing your ability to study online. So we call them badged open courses. They're available on Open Learn. You get what's called a little digital badge when you complete it.
Okay.
So that's you can put that on your CV or whatever. It's a bit like when you were in the Brownies or the Scouts and you got a badge and you could sew it onto your uniform. So these are digital badges.
Fantastic.
So
Well,
and
that's been absolutely fascinating, and I will put all those links that you've mentioned in the show notes so people can find those on our website. Thank you so much for spending time with me this morning. It's really brilliant, and I do commend this, Open University as a resource to people, especially maybe even, if you're sat at home and currently maybe not working or wondering what your future looks like. Maybe this is a way forward for you to reskill or to provide further knowledge, or even, to just be curious about the entertainment factor of learning something new. So I think it's a great resource, and I love the way that it's so available to everybody.
Yeah, it is, and I have to say I'm so proud to be working for the OU that whenever I write that down, I always put OU in capital letters and proud. So, that because it's just such a, people have talked about it as a national treasure. I think it's more than that. It's so special, and we're so lucky in the UK to have something like this. But that's my belief.
Yeah.
So I was an OU student myself many years ago, and so when I eventually came to work for the OU, that was the pinnacle of my career, really. So
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed talking to you, and well, I look forward to meeting you again one day.
yeah, I hope so. I'm very happy to come back, Justin, anytime.
So until next time, this is Justin King helping you feel more informed in your retirement.